This internal affairs report is full of lies, distorts reality, and is a blatant attempt at a cover-up. Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. Appreciate you joining me for this live stream. Please take a second and hit that like button and share this video at any social media place that you can so it can be seen by as many people as possible. We, the people, need to expose this tyranny and blatant corruption. So let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up the internal affairs report here. So this came out yesterday by the state police. This is a doozy here, full of lies. And we're going to debunk all of the lies. So this is it right here. The Connecticut State Police, Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Bureau of Professional Standards, Internal Affairs Unit. Subject is, this is the Internal Affairs Investigation Report. Subject is Sergeant Bryan Fahey. The complainant was Major John Gregorzek. That's the person that initiated this. The violation: applicable statutes, rules, and regulations, administrative and operations manual section. Violation number 1. There's only one violation, and that's offenses that may result in disciplinary action, any conduct that would reflect negatively on the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Example: conduct unbecoming. So this is just the authority to investigate, notifications, exhibits right here. You have notifications material, Mr. Reyes' certified letter, YouTube video, unhinged cop spits in my face, draws his gun, and I get arrested. Unreal, still unreal. Sergeant Bryan Fahey associated interview paperwork, PD 911 calls, threatening and harassing messages, July 18, 2025, Hartford Current article, PD initial and supplemental reports, Reyes and Glover court docket. So this is where it gets started. I'm going to read this word for word. We're going to go through it. We're going to debunk some things. We're going to talk about some things. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. It's going to be a good one. On Monday, July 14th, Eastern District Commanding Officer Major Gregorzek, number 9, badge number 9, submitted a DPS, Bureau of Professional Standards Internal Affairs Unit. In the submitted DPS 677C2, Major Gregorzek on Friday, July 11th at approximately 4:52 p.m., while off duty, Sergeant Fahey was involved in an interaction with YouTube content creator, I prefer independent journalist, but Sean Paul Reyes and cameraman Tahim Glover outside of Fahey's private residence in Mystic, Connecticut. At least some of the encounter was recorded and subsequently published online in a video. According to the footage, Sergeant Fahey retrieved a handgun and instructed Mr. Reyes to leave his property. During the exchange, he expressed strong verbal warnings, including the statement, "This is the biggest mistake you've ever made." That aged well. And at one point, apparently spat in Mr. Reyes' direction. While the circumstances surrounding the incident may warrant further review, it is acknowledged that Sergeant Fahey appeared to be reacting to individuals present on his private property. Given the potential questions raised regarding the possible use of force and professional demeanor, an internal affairs review is needed to gather all the relevant information. On Tuesday, July 14th, the Office of Professional Standards Internal Affairs Unit accessed the Long Island Audit YouTube channel and downloaded an MP4 video file of the video posted on July 13th. 2025. The video was uploaded following the incident involving off-duty Sergeant Bryan Fahey at his residence. Since its publication, and I just noticed here, they can't even spell his name right. Bryan is with a Y, not a I, but okay. Since its publication, the video has garnered over 600,000 views. I believe it's at 800,000 views, and more than 25,000 comments. The video was downloaded to ensure evidentiary preservation in the event of its removal from the platform. The total runtime of the video is 33 minutes and 18 seconds and includes apparent edits and transitions between scenes. The video is as follows. On Friday, July 11th, 2025, Sean Paul Reyes arrived at Sergeant Fahey's neighborhood accompanied by a cameraman and a mobile digital billboard truck to film and report on what Mr. Reyes is referred to as Corruptigate. I refer to Connecticut as Corruptikit, not Corruptigate, but going forward, I'm going to say how it really is, Corruptikit. And this internal affairs report is more evidence of Corruptigate. According to Mr. Reyes, Corruptigate, not Corruptigate, involves the allegations that Sergeant Fahey has received fraudulent overtime compensation annually while serving in a in a desk sergeant capacity during a standard 9-to-5 assignment. Mr. Reyes states that he came here to investigate Sergeant Bryan Fahey's neighborhood to protest his tyranny and corruption and lack of accountability, but to also, as any good independent journalist would, to ask questions about this overtime allegation. The video then transitions to footage of Mr. Reyes walking down Sergeant Fahey's driveway. The driveway appears to be a considerable length, such as the residence is not visible from the public roadway or from the initial portion of the driveway. As depicted in the video, Mr. Reyes and his cameraman are then observed walking across Sergeant Fahey's front lawn toward the main entrance of the residence, where Mr. Reyes proceeds to knock on the front door. Off-duty Sergeant Fahey answers the door and states, "You have to get off my property. It's posted no trespassing." He then reiterates his directive for Mr. Reyes to vacate the premises before placing a phone to his ear and re-entering the residence. As Mr. Reyes begins to walk back across the front yard toward the driveway, Sergeant Fahey is seen exiting the residence holding a handgun in his right hand in a low-ready position, while simultaneously holding a cell phone to his left ear, actively engaged in a call. The video indicates that approximately 45 seconds elapsed between Sergeant Fahey's initial verbal directive for Sean Paul Reyes to leave the property and the moment Sergeant Fahey exited his residence while on the phone with 911 and in the possession of a privately owned firearm. During the 45-second interval, Mr. Reyes continued recording video footage and narrating commentary pertaining to Sergeant Fahey and the surrounding circumstances. Sergeant Fahey then proceeded to walk in a close proximity to Mr. Reyes, positioning himself chest to chest and face to face as they continued moving toward the cul-de-sac, while repeatedly directing Mr. Reyes to leave his property. During the interaction, Sergeant Fahey is heard stating, "I am a goddamn Connecticut state trooper," and ordering Mr. Reyes to get off my fucking property. Mr. Reyes repeatedly responds, "I don't care who you are." They left out the part where I say, "I am leaving. What do you think that I'm doing?" Again, that's very minor compared to what they did here. This exchange is immediately followed by an audible sound of consistent with spitting, after which Mr. Reyes reacts by stating, "You spit in my face." Sergeant Fahey continues to identify himself as a Connecticut state trooper multiple times throughout the interaction. At one point, Mr. Reyes points out the presence of a firearm in Sergeant Fahey's hand, to which Sergeant Fahey responds, "You threatened to kill me. You threatened to kill me online." False, false, never happened. As they proceeded toward the cul-de-sac, Sergeant Fahey continues to state, "Get off my property," while Mr. Reyes responds to one of the directives by saying, "I'm going. I've been going since the minute you told me." Oh, they included it. Sergeant Fahey continues to walk with Mr. Reyes towards the cul-de-sac. Upon reaching the area, Sergeant Fahey remains at the threshold between his driveway and the public cul-de-sac while Mr. Reyes proceeds further into the cul-de-sac. He actually followed me out into the cul-de-sac, onto the public sidewalk, off of his property. But again, that's the least of our worries here. The verbal exchange between the two individuals continues until officers from the Groton Police Department arrive on scene. This point in the video marks the initiation of the Groton Police Department's on-scene investigation into the incident. The Groton Police Department verified that no trespassing sign. Let me say this again. The Groton Police Department verified that a no trespassing sign was visibly posted in the grass along Sergeant Fahey's driveway. In the video posted by Sean Paul Reyes, he initially emphasizes the importance of being observant for no trespassing signs when approaching private property. However, during his initial approach to the Fahey residence, a noticeable video edit occurs between the timestamps 226 and 227. So that notable edit is from when I'm narrating my intro and then I am on the driveway, which skips over the specific portion of the driveway where the sign was located. A second edit is observed between timestamps 512 and 515 during Mr. Reyes' retreat from the property. Similarly, omitting the area where the sign would have been clearly visible to viewers. Okay, so this is where we bring up Exhibit A. Let's bring it up right here. Exhibit A. Let's bring it up. I have to do, let's see here. Okay, hopefully everybody could see this. Yes, you can. You see the timestamp. So they stated that the timestamp is 512 to 515 of my YouTube video, where I edited the no trespassing sign out to deceive all of you, to deceive you guys. There is a no trespassing sign. So let's look at the video. This video is off my YouTube channel, where they got the video from. So let's go ahead and play. As you can see, it's at the 5-minute mark.
Look at the gun in his.
They said it's edited between 5:12 and 5:15, so pay attention.
Goddamn right. I'm a Connecticut State
I don't
trooper.
care a shit who you
are
are.
trespassing on my property.
That doesn't matter. You can't break
to
the law.
Kill me.
I didn't.
You threatened to kill me online.
Right? No,
Get
I did
off my
not.
fucking
You're a
property
liar.
right now.
You are a liar.
Right now.
Look, see the big
Get off
beautiful
my
billboard
property.
truck? It's all being recorded.
I don't care.
It's all being. I
Get
know you
off
don't
my
care
property
because you don't face any
right now.
consequences.
Get off
You don't
my
face any
property
consequences
right now.
Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back. I mean,
Get off. You threatened to kill me online.
Right? No, I
Get
did
off my
not.
fucking
You're a
property
liar.
right now.
You are a liar.
Right now.
Look, see the big
Get off
beautiful
my
billboard
property.
truck? It's all being recorded.
5:12.
You're a liar.
Right
You
now.
are a liar.
15,
Right now.
Look, see the big
Get off
beautiful
my
billboard
property.
truck? It's all
There
being
are no
recorded.
I don't care.
It's all being, I know you don't
my
care
property
because you don't face any
right now.
consequences.
by the
Get
Connecticut
off.
State Police Department and the Groton Police Department. Blatant lie. So, can't make it up. Well, I guess you can, right? Anyway, it would have been clearly visible to his viewers because I'm trying to deceive each and every one of you. I created this alternate reality where there isn't a no trespassing sign, but there was one there before. Clearly. Based on the edited footage, it took approximately 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Mr. Reyes to vacate Sergeant Fahey's property after being directed to do so. What am I supposed to teleport? He has a very long driveway. Upon a comprehensive review, the video contains multiple additional edits, each of which may materially affect the continuity, context, and evidentiary reliability of the recorded encounter. There are no edits with the actual encounter with Sergeant Brian, former disgraced, unhinged Sergeant Bryan Fahey. Let's be clear. At the conclusion of the video, Sean Paul Reyes stated that both he and his cameraman, Tahim Glover, were arrested by the Groton Police Department and formally charged with criminal trespass in the first degree, breach of the peace in the second degree, and voyeurism with malice, a felony. On July 23rd, 2025, at approximately 11:07, Lieutenant Corrine Swift and I met with Sergeant Bryan Fahey at the Internal Affairs Office located at 294 Colony Street, Building Number 6, Meriden, Connecticut. Prior to the interview, Sergeant Fahey signed a waiver of union representation form, but did not waive his right to have a union representative present. As such, labor agent Mark Poisson and Vice President Wes Carl Schlicker were present for the interview. Sergeant Fahey was advised of his Garrity Plus warning, which he acknowledged and signed on July 23rd, 2025 at 11 hours. The interview was recorded utilizing the digital application Voice Memos Recorder. The recording was subsequently uploaded to the Professional Standards Drive folder labeled IA25042. Well, that's great. You gave me the exact folder where it's at for my FOIA request. Thank you. Sergeant Fahey will be listening to that audio, so stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 1 million subscribers. Hit the like button and share this video. Sergeant Fahey's interview and transferred to a USB thumb drive. The interview began at 11:07 hours. Sergeant Fahey provided the following information. Sergeant Fahey stated that on July 11, 2025, he had an off-duty encounter with YouTube content creator, again, independent journalist, Sean Paul Reyes at his private residence. He explained that his interactions with Mr. Reyes date back to 2021. Yes, in 2021, you violated my constitutional rights and assaulted me. You did so again in 2023. When Mr. Reyes arrived at State Police Headquarters to file a complaint regarding personnel assigned to the Bradley International Airport, Trooper Lavoie. That initial interaction was video recorded and subsequently posted online. Sergeant Fahey further explains that Mr. Reyes returned to State Police Headquarters on a second occasion, right, to file a FOIA request, during which Sergeant Fahey felt compelled to engage with him. He felt compelled. I went to the Connecticut State Police Headquarters, not for Sergeant Fahey, to file a FOIA request and exercise my rights, but Sergeant Fahey felt compelled to engage with him because no other personnel within the department were willing to do so. Additionally, Sergeant Fahey informed us that Mr. Reyes currently has a federal civil lawsuit filed against him. Sergeant Fahey stated that Mr. Reyes, along with individuals believed to be his followers, have made threats indicating their intent to come to his residence. I have never made any public, private, or otherwise threat against Sergeant Fahey, his residence, or his family. Let's be clear. He has no evidence of it because it's never happened. I am peaceful. He further explained that in addition to those threats, his home address has been posted online, not by me. I have blurred out his home address many times. I have kept his exact home address a secret to protect him and his family's privacy, even though at this point he doesn't deserve it. It's not illegal to post his home address, but I'm a nice guy. Posted online along with the names of his children, sister, and father. I don't know the names of any of those people. Sergeant Fahey reported that he and his family, including his father and children, have received threats of violence, including death threats from these individuals. He further indicated that he has received hundreds of harassing emails, Facebook messages, and posts, phone calls, and pieces of USPS mail, United States Postal Service mail. In addition, he has observed hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube comments and videos. I believe it's thousands, and videos referencing him. While not all of these messages contain explicit threats, a number include direct or implied threats to his life, which I will say, if you are directly or indirectly threatening the life of this unhinged lunatic tyrant, I strongly condemn that. Don't do that. We'll hold him accountable in the court of law. I understand your frustrations out there, everybody's frustrations. This man has never been held accountable for any of the times he's assaulted me, violated my constitutional rights, a traitor to our country, doesn't honor his oath, an oath breaker, which is probably the worst thing you can be in this world. I understand your frustration, but never resort to violence. I have never advocated for violence. I've always advocated for peaceful activism. So don't do that. But again, nothing to do with me. And I don't know if it's true or not. They didn't include any of the evidence. So based on all of their lies in this report, I'm not inclined to believe them. Sergeant Fahey reiterated that the harassment he has experienced is persistent, unrelenting, and in ongoing nature. Sergeant Fahey offered to provide Internal Affairs with screenshots of some of these threatening correspondence he has received. He recalled several examples of the messages, including statements such as, "Fahey is better off dead," "Karma is a 223, "We know where he lives," "Everybody has to sleep at night," and "We should walk up behind him at headquarters and splatter his brains all over his cruiser." Again, if these are real, I don't condone them at all. I condemn them. Sergeant Fahey concluded by stating that he has received numerous other messages of a similar threatening and disturbing nature. Let's just be clear here. Sergeant Fahey is not the victim of this incident. I know he's trying to portray himself as the victim, but he is not the victim. He is the criminal perpetrator, oath-breaking tyrant who committed felonies, just wasn't held accountable for them. The interviewer sought to understand how Sergeant Fahey felt. Oh, no, excuse me. I skipped a paragraph. Due to the ongoing threats, Sergeant Fahey stated that he has implemented additional security measures at his residence, including posting no trespassing signs and installing, that's a lie, and installing a Ring surveillance camera. That's the truth. He further noted that his home is located on a private lot situated well back away from the roadway, such that the residence is not visible from the cul-de-sac. The interviewer sought to understand how Sergeant Fahey felt in the moment he observed Sean Paul Reyes at his front door. So, again, the interviewer sought to understand how Sergeant Fahey felt. I will just say, no one from Internal Affairs, the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs Office, sent me a letter. They say they sent me a certified letter. They never did. They didn't ask to interview me at all, or my cameraman. Nothing. Just all victim Fahey. That's his side of the story. But again, there's video. So the interviewer sought to understand how Sergeant Fahey felt in the moment he observed Sean Paul Reyes at his front door. Sergeant Fahey emphasized that this is not the merely presence of Mr. Reyes was the concern, but the fact that Sean Paul Reyes, who is a convicted felon, accompanied by an individual who was wearing a mask and a hood. So I've never addressed this on my channel before because my channel is not about me. My channel is about my work. So because this is now in an official report, I'm not going to take it out. I am going to address it. I am a convicted felon. 13 years ago, when I was 20 years old, 13 years ago, I made a bad decision. Before then, the 20 years before then, I never had any contact with law enforcement, have never been arrested. I made a bad decision, and I'm not going to make any excuses for my bad decision because, as you're going to see later on in this report, I paid a high price for that bad decision, but I will give context. 13 years ago, I didn't physically hurt anyone. It was an attempted robbery. I did not hurt anyone physically. I did not use a firearm, as they are stating in this. And again, I have redeemed myself. This is a country of redemption, and I believe I've redeemed myself, not because of anybody, with no offense. I don't mean any offense, not because of what each and every one of you think of me, but because of what the people closest to me, my wife, my children, my sister, my brother, my closest friends and confidants, what they have seen. And my closest friends include district attorneys, law enforcement officers who all know. And again, I don't think it's relevant. I am not going to continue to harp on this. This is not relevant to what's happening here. Again, I made it clear. I am not going to allow this oath-breaking tyrant, who should be a convicted felon, but he's never held accountable. And wait, really quickly, before we get off this topic, I want to show you guys something. So we have here, I found somebody, not me, a source found this newspaper article here. The Day, it's from The Day newspaper. It's dated February 18th, 1993. I was just 2 years old at this time. He found it interesting. The source sent it to me because it was a very interesting article here. It leads all the arrests and what happened with those arrests. And you could see here that in 1993, former disgraced oath-breaking Sergeant Bryan Fahey was charged with the use of drug paraphernalia and the sale of certain illegal drugs, and he was not prosecuted. So again, he was arrested for being a drug dealer in his past 23 years ago. Nope, 30. How long ago? 33 years ago, 32 years ago, he was arrested. But yet the difference between you and I, between myself and former disgraced Sergeant Bryan Fahey, is that since my bad decision, since my crime, I have apologized to the victim. The victim has accepted my apology. I have transformed my life for the better. I have helped people. I have helped people that to stay out of jail. I have given speeches that none of you know about. I have done things to better society. I have done things to hold people accountable, like I was held accountable. I have no animus towards the police. I do trainings. Look, district attorney's office gave me this nice little coin here. I have no problem with law enforcement. My problem, I believe in law and order. My problem is when people aren't held accountable for their actions, just like I was. I was held accountable for not hurting anybody physically, for not getting any money or anything like that, attempted robbery. I was held very much accountable because I didn't have money for a fancy lawyer. I was a victim of the system, but I did it to myself. And I took accountability. I turned myself in and I went directly to jail. I turned myself in. I didn't run away. I didn't lie. I didn't try and get out of it. I took accountability like a man. And that's what's important to me. No matter what anyone thinks of it that's watching this video, and this is the first and last time I'm going to speak about this. So clip it, do whatever you need to do. If somebody asks questions about it, refer them to this video. I take accountability. I'm very proud of the man I am today. I am very proud of the father I am today. I grew up without a father. Again, this is not the Sean Paul show. I can tell you about my life, my childhood, growing up without a father, growing up with a single mother who had no money. I can tell you my struggles in life. But the end of the story is I made one bad decision in my life, and I paid the consequences for it. And I have redeemed myself, and I have dedicated my life to being peaceful, to being a good man, a good father, a good husband, a good brother, and a good friend. So those of you who know me know who I am. So we're going to get back to this. Again, I just thought it was interesting, since we want to talk about the past, we could talk about how a law enforcement officer was a drug dealer. And then not only that, he continued to be a criminal by violating people's constitutional rights, assaulting people. He's assaulted more than just me, by the way. I am waiting for one of these victims to come forward, because he has brutally assaulted another victim on camera, and they are terrified to let me post the video because they're scared of this man. Okay, now back to this. Again, I'm not going to let that distract from anything. The interviewer sought to understand how Sergeant Fahey, because he's a convicted felon who accompanied by another individual who's wearing a hood and a mask. Again, accompanied by another individual, my cameraman, who was wearing a mask and a hood. Now let's watch this video. Again, this is about debunking.
There's not no trespassing signs.
But if somebody came onto my property and asked them to leave,
Oh, you saw that little clip of my cameraman? Let's go. You'll get a better look at him in a second.
and it sounds like you weren't leaving.
No. You're. This is why.
I'm trying to.
This is my cameraman, a 20-year-old, no criminal record, a great young man. He works hard for another business company that is friends with me. One of my friends owns a business. He works hard for them. A hardworking individual who is traumatized over this incident. He is a victim. Sergeant Fahey, all he does is create victims and the Groton Police Department. And you can clearly see the Connecticut State Police are nothing but habitual and pathological liars and oath breakers. You can see he does not have a hood on and he does not have a mask on. Very clearly for the world to see. But they don't think that they know that most of the Connecticut residents are not going to watch this video. They're not going to see me calling out their blatant lies. They're going to listen to the mainstream media, which we're going to take a look at that at the end of this video, where all they do, the corporate mainstream media, is regurgitate what the state police have said. That's all they do. That's it. They don't conduct any investigation. What happened to investigative journalism? That is why so many people are moving from mainstream corporate media to independent journalists like myself and others. So, yes, look, clearly no mask, clearly no hood. Was wearing a mask and a hood. It sounds really scary, doesn't it? The scary convicted felon, the scary they don't mention all of my accolades. They don't mention my trainings with law enforcement officers. I have certificates behind me, my ride-alongs, the amount of accomplishments I've had. I'm damn proud of who I am today. I am damn proud of who I am today, and no one's ever going to take that from me. And I paid the price. You'll see in a second. Sergeant Fahey further explained that he was completely in shock and overwhelmed by an inexplicable feeling upon seeing Mr. Reyes at his front door, particularly knowing that that his family was home. He stated that everyone in his family was aware of who Mr. Reyes was, and that his entire household went into a state of absolute panic. His entire household went into a state of absolute panic. Terrified. Remember, I'm going to show you another video in a second. His household, his children, his wife are just panicked. Sergeant Fahey emphasized that the event was very traumatic and has left his family deeply unsettled. He reiterated that he is still in shock, noting that although threats to come to his home have been made in the past, not by me, no one had ever actually come to his residence until this incident. Previously, such threats and confrontations occurred only at headquarters. However, on this occasion, Mr. Reyes arrived at Sergeant Fahey's private residence accompanied by another individual wearing a mask and a hood. And again, for those of you just
I
joined,
have multiple cameras.
This
is why.
A mask and a hood. Right. Where was I? A mask and a hood, who was standing on his front porch and lawn. I immediately got off of his porch, so that's another lie. Sergeant Fahey stated that his wife is very familiar with this convicted felon. Well, Kimberly, I'm not really familiar with you. You're familiar with me. I've never met you before. I'm not familiar with you. We're all going to get very familiar with Kimberly Fahey in a minute. She went into complete panic, called 911 and instructed Sergeant Fahey's daughter to go upstairs and remain in her room. She stayed on the phone with 911 while inside the house until she could no longer see Sergeant Fahey. At that point, she came outside to ensure his safety. Visibly upset, Sergeant Fahey described the situation as an emotional nightmare. You know what's an emotional nightmare? The atrocities you have committed against victims, not just myself, in Connecticut. The emotional nightmare is reliving your nasty, disgusting spit in my mouth and in my face, you disgusting, unhinged individual. Emotional nightmare is what my cameraman, an innocent young man, upstanding young man, going to jail, charged with a felony on baseless charges. That's an emotional damage. My wife, my children, my family seeing me almost murdered by your psychopath. That is traumatizing. Not walking up and knocking on the door. You lying piece of garbage. To ensure his safety, visibly upset Sergeant Fahey described the situation as an emotional nightmare, stating that my family is an emotional wreck right now. Oh, and can't sleep. He expressed deep distress over the harassment, adding that these guys are taking pictures of my kids all over the place. Sergeant Fahey was clearly disgusted, struggled to convey how terrible the situation has become and the impact it had on him and his family, describing the trauma as ridiculous and expressing uncertainty about how his family will ever recover from this ordeal. So, this is going to be what? Exhibit C to dispel these lies. Exhibit A was showing you that the video was not edited where they said it was a lie. There was no trespassing sign where they said it was. They said, I was trying to deceive you. They're creating an alternate reality. And Exhibit B was showing that my cameraman did not have a mask and a hood. So this is Exhibit C, featuring Kimberly Fahey, the wife of former disgraced Sergeant Bryan Fahey.
If they're that scared, they wouldn't be going.
This video is courtesy of the Constitution state. Thank you. He grabbed this video. He was protesting peacefully with others outside of the Groton Police Department, not outside of former Sergeant Fahey's home, on the public road outside of the Groton Police Department.
Now, and you think if
let me just turn up the volume so you guys could hear it the best you can, and I can hear it.
they're that scared, they wouldn't be going out. And you think if they're that scared, they wouldn't be going out and actively messing with people that are protesting.
This, I believe, is Bryan Fahey's son-in-law who lives with him, or his son. I'm not sure. This right here in the Honda is Kimberly Fahey, the one that she's well aware and well acquainted with, the convicted felon, the scary man. Again, this is Kimberly Fahey. Nice to meet you, Kimberly. I've had this video for a while. I didn't want to involve them, but since they're making a big deal about how terrified and the nightmares and this the Faheys, let's see how they act.
That don't agree with this. The first day, his wife shows up, drives by. We didn't know it was her. And she goes out of her way because she comes down, she turns into the school, she sits up there for 2-3 minutes, just sitting there. Then when she leaves the school, she drives with her phone in her hand, not even paying attention to the road, and then parks in the middle of the road to whine. She truly says, I gotta get the story straight. What exactly does everybody not have straight? I think everybody has it down to a T. And then not only that, his dumbass son was driving by, back and forth, taking pictures, which is whatever. But then when Paul and Connecticut Transparency pull out, somehow this weirdo magically ends up behind him. I thought these people were so scared, right? Scared enough to need to be protected by state police. And I sure hope Fahey's paying for that, because that's a private detail, right? If anybody else wants to rent a state trooper, they pay. They're lasers, dude. Did you see everybody that was in the comments? They were roasting them. They blocked me like it's not long after I found them on Facebook. I kept calling them liars because they're posting lies. And, you know?
There you go. There's Kimberly Fahey right here, following, harassing peaceful protesters well distance away from her home. Not even near. She terrified. This is after this incident. She's terrified. She seems like she's pretty tough to me. She seems like she's really tough. What did you sign?
This one says Fahey gives great hawk tour. This one says pig spit is still spit. Go fuck yourself and get your story straight. You have no idea, bitch. Yeah. Get your story straight. I knew what she was doing right the minute she went, what's your sign say?
This is baby Fahey, Junior Fahey, following them out.
You got him?
Following peaceful protesters, following people, giving them the middle finger. as Kimberly did, allegedly. I couldn't see her giving the finger, but I believe she gave him the finger. Harassing people. I thought you were scared.
Gotcha, bitch.
Oh,
This is the second day, and I was by myself.
2 days in a row. This is the second day. 2 days in a row, Kimberly. I mean, wow.
And she came by once again. Maybe they're just out doing this because they're upset that everybody's going to find out how much money Fahey's been stealing, and they might actually have to go get jobs.
That's a good point. I see in the comment section, distracted driving. Yeah, she's using her phone and driving at the same time. Maybe I need to go to Groton, provide this video, and she needs to be issued a citation. Again, accountability for everyone.
They might actually have to work because it seems like they have a lot of free time.
Yeah, fuck you.
That's her right there, ain't it? She's coming back for more. Oh, yeah. Change your rag. Change your rag. Fuck you, you.
Oh, yep, there she goes, just like her son or her son-in-law flipping the bird and stopping in the middle of the street.
Fuck you, you sloppy. Your plate would say PJ. Oh, Fahey's wife is definitely doing the pegging. Do you guys think this is appropriate? Do you think a state trooper's family members should be going out harassing protesters because their family member fucked up and now the world knows once again how much of a scumbag their family is? Honestly, to me, it seems like the whole family is delusional. They might all have mental health problems. And someone sent us a list of registered vehicles to Fahey. And lo and behold, the Jeep's on there, the Honda's on there. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence indeed. Again, this just goes to prove that Kimberly is not terrified. She's not scared. She's not traumatizing, emotional, quote, an emotional nightmare. That's what it says here, an emotional nightmare. If that was really the case, why for 2 days straight you are pulling up to people unknown to you, protesting your husband, giving them the middle finger, cursing at them, screaming at them? Why is your son or your son-in-law doing the same thing, harassing people, following them around, going back and forth? Lies, more lies. They're not traumatized. They're just as unhinged savages as Fahey. Let's be clear about that. He's trying to garner sympathy. That's what he's trying to do. And you're not going to get any from me, and I don't think you're going to get any from anybody, especially after I expose you. When Sergeant Fahey advised Sean Paul Reyes to leave his property, again, expressing uncertainty of how his family will recover from this ordeal. When Sergeant Fahey advised Sean Paul Reyes to leave his property, he stated that Mr. Reyes laughed like it was a big goddamn joke. Well, there's one thing true about this. You are a joke, Fahey. You are an oath breaker. I'd rather be a convicted felon any day of the week than an oath-breaking piece of shit like you. I promise you that. I'm a man of integrity, of morals. You can ask anyone who knows me. Sergeant Fahey further described that Mr. Reyes did not comply by leaving or turning away to walk down the driveway. Excuse me? Sergeant Fahey further described that Mr. Reyes did not comply by leaving or turning away to walk down the driveway. Instead, he positioned himself deeper into the yard. What? Are these people like delusional? Like, do they not think that we have the video? I mean, I positioned myself deeper into the yard. Like, they have me second guessing myself, really. Because the way they could just lie like this. Let's take a look. Let's see. This is what is Exhibit D for those of you keeping track of all the exhibits of their lies. Let's see here. So, nice man me. I blurred out his address.
He couldn't even get the question out. Ladies and gentlemen, he was so angry.
Let's take a look at the whole thing. I must be going crazy.
Hey, Sergeant Fahey, how are you?
Very aggressive. Hey, Sergeant Fahey.
Nope, there is no posted sign. There's no problem. Do you have any? Let's go. Do you have any comment on the allegations that you are? I am moving. Do you have any comment on the allegations that you are receiving?
Oh, wait a minute. There's the laugh. There's the laugh, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't notice this before. Another lie. He didn't, in the moment, hear my laugh. He already closed the door. Another lie. Now,
Couldn't even get the
let's see if I go further into his
question out. Ladies and gentlemen, he was so angry. Couldn't even get the question out. He says that there's no trespassing signs. Let's see. Let's see if there's no trespassing signs.
Back turned.
What a coward. He can assault me in broad daylight while receiving taxpayer money. But the minute an independent journalist comes to his home, and he's probably going to try and get me unlawfully arrested now. As you could see, I moved back his camera that says you're currently being recorded.
Back turned. There is nowhere else for me to go, ladies and gentlemen. The direction I was walking was literally the quickest direction.
Film this guy.
Get off my property. Off my
Psycho.
fucking property.
Get that gun
I'm
out
a
of your hand,
goddamn
psycho.
Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care who you are.
Trespassing
I don't
on
care
my
who you are.
fucking
I don't
property.
care who you
Get
are.
off my fucking
I don't
property.
care who you are.
Right now.
All right. So let's get back to this internal affairs report. That was Exhibit D for those of you keeping track. Sergeant Fahey stated that prior to going outside to confront Mr. Reyes, let's go back to, he laughed like it's a big goddamn joke. He got that from after he watched the video, not during the encounter. Again, lies, framing, creative writing in order to make me look like the aggressor, the person, the criminal, bringing up 13 years ago, bad decisions, the criminal, right? He laughed like it was a big goddamn joke. Sergeant Fahey further described that Mr. Reyes did not comply by leaving or turning and walking away. Clearly I did. Instead, he positioned himself deeper into the yard where he continued to film and, in Sergeant Fahey's words, victimize his family, acting though the situation was a joke. Sergeant Fahey stated that prior to going outside to confront Mr. Reyes, he called 911. Which he believed connected directly to the Groton Police Department. He remained on the line with 911 dispatcher throughout the entire interaction with Mr. Reyes. He also retrieved a privately owned firearm, citing concerns for his safety due to Mr. Reyes being a convicted felon who had served a 3-year sentence for, first of all, get it right, attempted robbery. And then they say with a firearm, a blatant lie. There was no firearm I've ever used in any capacity to threaten anybody with. A lie meant to deceive. They say that I edit my videos to deceive each and every one of you out there. They're over-exaggerating, trying to deceive you to paint me in the worst way possible. But what they don't understand is I'm confident in the man I am today. I am. The reason I've never brought it up is because it's 13 years ago, and this is not the Long Island Audit story of Sean Paul Reyes. That's the only reason. But since you want to bring it up, let's talk about it. No firearm involved. Complete lie. Defamation. Complete lie. Maybe they'll add that to the lawsuit. And it was attempted robbery. Connecticut State Police, get it right. You should have access to all of these things. And I did serve a 3-year sentence, and I drove myself to that sentence. I took responsibility as a man. Imagine you decide, no matter what the sentence was. I've talked to former prosecutors, law enforcement. They say that my sentence was unjust. Imagine a 20-year-old young man who was never in any law enforcement trouble ever in his entire life. I was in college studying to become a history teacher. Again, context matters. Family trouble, growing up without a father, hanging around the wrong people. And I'm going to use this as a PSA to let every father and mother know out there, be careful. Really, really be careful who your kids hang around, because you keep the company like Fahey, a criminal, a drug dealer, somebody who was arrested for selling drugs and using drugs. They can get involved in some bad activities and do bad things and make bad decisions. Somebody who has never been in trouble with the law, getting a 3-year sentence for their first crime ever. Again, public defender, things of that nature. But I'm not complaining. Again, what do I preach on this channel? Accountability. I took it. I did it. I accepted it. That's what, and I am the man I am today because of it. And I am going to continue to be the man I am today. I'm still going to be a good father. I'm still going to be a good husband, a good friend. and I'm going to do my best work with each and every one of you every single day, fighting for transparency and accountability in our government and exposing oath-breaking tyrants every chance I get, and highlighting good law enforcement officers and working with them and district attorney's offices like I do. Again, no firearm was used in my crime, and the fact that he was accompanied by another individual wearing a mask and a hood. Sergeant Fahey emphasized that he did not know what was going to happen, as he had no way of knowing what their intentions were. Visibly upset, my intentions were to ask him a question, which I did. Clear intentions, no hood, no mask by the cameraman, all lies. And this whole convicted felon thing from 13 years ago, it's all meant to deflect. And I'm not going to allow it. Visibly upset, Sergeant Fahey stated that they came to his home that day, and in the moment, his primary duty was to protect his family. His family was in the opposite direction of where he was moving. I was moving away from his home and his family, and so was he. He wasn't protecting his home and his family. We all know this. We're not idiots. He was trying to kill me. He was trying to end my life. That's why he spat in my face. That's why he said I threatened to kill him. He was trying to kill me, period. He further explained that because he was wearing gym shorts and did not have a compatible holster for that attire, he was unable to safely holster his firearm. As a result, he carried it at a low ready position in accordance with his training. During the interaction, Sergeant Fahey identified himself as a Connecticut State Trooper, a goddamn Connecticut State Trooper, not to justify carrying the firearm, but because it was an instinctual response aimed at compelling Mr. Reyes to turn around and walk down the driveway. Oh, man. First of all, another lie. Let's call this out. Another lie. I said, get that gun out of your hand. Yeah, he's a gun in his hand. He says, you're damn right. I'm a goddamn Connecticut State Trooper. So it was to justify carrying the firearm. You liars. Liars. These are the people that are in positions of power who have authority over us. A response aimed at compelling Mr. Reyes to turn around and walk down the driveway, which I was already doing. However, Mr. Reyes did not comply. Instead, he continued recording, and according to Sergeant Fahey, continued to victimize him. Sergeant Fahey, the victim of this entire situation. Right. Continued to victimize him and his family. His family. These family members, these family members who harass peaceful protesters.
They're just out doing this because they're upset.
His family, Kimberly Fahey, the one who harassed and followed peaceful protesters. Doesn't sound like people who are victims to me. Doesn't sound like that way to me. Sounds like they're the aggressors, just like Sergeant Fahey is the aggressor. Okay. Let's see here. Victimize him and his family. Sergeant Fahey that he eventually reached a point where he didn't know what else to do. Maybe go back inside with your family. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. During the interaction with Jean-Paul Reyes, Sergeant Fahey acknowledged that he was yelling at Mr. Reyes and emphasized that he was spitting the entire time as he screamed. He stated that at the time of the incident, he did not recall spitting directly on Mr. Reyes. He stated at the time of the incident, he did not recall spitting directly on Mr. Reyes. However, after subsequently viewing the video of the encounter, Sergeant Fahey admitted, yes, I did, but I don't remember doing it. So this individual, a law enforcement officer who has used excessive force on multiple people, bashing people's faces in, violating people's constitutional rights, assaulting people, just can black out. He blacked out. He blacked out. He spat in my face and mouth and didn't remember it. What a liar. What a liar. Don't remember doing it. But at least he admits he did. Yes, I did. I mean, take that for what it's worth, because It's on video. Once Sean Paul Reyes crossed, this is the same type of internal affairs report we got on the first two incidents. He thought my camera was a firearm. He thought, and back then, Sergeant Fahey did not know who I was. He didn't know about a mistake that I made, a bad decision I made 13 years ago. He had no idea. But he still thought my camera was a firearm. Again, this is just more and more cop-splaining, disgusting, creative writing meant to deceive you, the public. Once Sean Paul Reyes crossed into the cul-de-sac and stepped off the curtilage of Sergeant Fahey's property, Sergeant Fahey disengaged from the interaction. Once Sean Paul Reyes closed, let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. Once Sean Paul Reyes crossed into the cul-de-sac and stepped off the curtilage of Sergeant Fahey's property, Sergeant Fahey disengaged from the interaction. Is that true? He disengaged? Let's take a look. Hold on. Exhibit. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. What exhibit are we on now? Let's see here. Let's see. Did he disengage? Let's see.
You're going to jail.
Don't ever come back to my house
It's
again.
okay for you to assault people and break people's property, but I can't ask questions about your overtime. About your overtime, $75,000 for a desk job. More than that, right? More than that. I'm gotta go. What a crazy psychopath.
So to me, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't look like he disengaged. It looked like he re-engaged. I mean, I must be crazy. I must be seeing things. I don't know. I mean, looked to me like he re-engaged. But again, I mean, I guess I could be wrong. I guess my eyes could be playing tricks on me. Let's see here. Shortly thereafter, officers from the Groton Police Department arrived on scene. Following the incident, Sergeant Fahey promptly notified his chain of command and the state police union regarding the encounter with Mr. Reyes. The Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs Unit obtained the 911 call recordings. I'll be obtaining those soon. Can't wait to share them with you guys. Placed by both Sergeant Fahey and his wife. The 911 call made by Sergeant Fahey's wife clearly conveys apprehension during a segment of the call. Her breathing is noticeably panicked. Notably, Sergeant Fahey and his wife, who were on separate 911 calls and physically separated by both sight and sound, can each be heard independently confirming that their property is clearly posted with no trespassing signs. All that tells me is that they're individually nuts and delusional, Kimberly and Bryan, independently of each other, because they both said something that wasn't true. I don't know why the state police is doing this. Why are they trying to just change reality? There's clearly there aren't any no trespassing signs. On Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, the Connecticut State Police Union provided examples of messages that have been posted publicly about Sergeant Bryan Fahey and sent directly to him. These communications contain hateful rhetoric and death threats, which appear to be a direct result of the videos posted by YouTube content creator Sean Paul Reyes. Are they a direct result of my videos that I posted, or are they a direct result of Bryan Fahey's own actions? There's nothing better than there's nothing worse than someone who just won't take accountability. They won't just accept their accountability for their actions. My videos don't make people threaten you. In fact, I say not to threaten people. Peacefully petition your grievances to your government for redress. Peaceful. But my videos cause people to threaten you? Or do your actions as a tyrant, an oath breaker, a traitor to our Constitution, a traitor to our country, a criminal? That's what you are, Bryan. A criminal. He's a criminal. That's what Bryan is. The communications directed at Sergeant Fahey frequently contain violent and threatening language, including statements such as shove your service weapon into the roof of your mouth and squeeze. I hope Sergeant Fahey gets blah, 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 clipped in the line of duty. Another cop that needed his ass kicked 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he was out selling drugs, allegedly, I guess. He was arrested for selling drugs. Now, he just needs to eat lead. Go back and catch him going to his car and blah, blah, blah. Fahey needs to be ended now. Shouldn't be allowed to another day. Again, this right here, if true, I condemn it. I condemn these kinds of threats. I receive worse threats, but I never talk about it. I don't cry about it. It's part of the job. It's part of my job. It's part of it, but I condemn them. This shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening to me or Bryan, his wife, Kimberly, his children, my children, anyone. We're going to hold them accountable. I know you're frustrated, but we're going to, and especially this makes it worse. This kind of report makes it worse. But let's hold him accountable in a court of law. Let's do everything we can. We will expose him at every turn. We'll do everything we can. It should be noted that these examples represent only a small snapshot of the broader volume of harassment. They do not reflect the thousands of phone calls and emails that have been received not only by Sergeant Fahey, but also various sworn and civilian personnel across the Connecticut State Police. These communications have been directed to numerous phone lines and extensions throughout the agency, including those assigned to command staff, email accounts designated for public feedback and inquiries. At times, the volume of incoming calls have been so significant that it has disrupted operations, including tying up phone lines at public safety answering points, centers. Again, don't blame me, the victim. Blame the criminal. Blame the oath breaker. Blame the unhinged individual who can't control his own emotions, who doesn't want to take accountability. Blame him. If he didn't violate my rights 3 times, if he didn't assault me 3 times, if he didn't spit in my face, nobody forced him to do that. Nobody forced him. He did it on his own. On Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs Unit was made aware of a news article published by the Hartford Courant, originally released on July 18th at 5 a.m. and subsequently updated the same day at 10:53. The article was authored by Justin of the Hartford Courant. In the Hartford Courant article, authored by Justin, the following excerpts are reported. Reyes claimed that he went to Fahey's home after receiving an anonymous tip involving allegations tied to Sergeant Fahey's overtime. After doing his own investigating, Reyes admits he found no evidence to support the allegations. I never admitted that. I said I have no evidence directly that it's fraud, but there's a lot of evidence that point that in that direction. I don't have concrete evidence, but what about the fact he's a 9-to-5 desk sergeant making $85,000 a year for the last 5 years? I think that's evidence that points in the direction of it. Anyway, Reyes admits he found no evidence. No, I didn't. But he said he does believe the amount of overtime the sergeant earned last year was excessive. Not only excessive, suspect. Reyes acknowledged that Fahey has a right to protect his home and his family, but he said he does not see how he could deem him a threat, given that he has never been aggressive or threatening in any of their interactions. Very true. Never. The incident is currently under investigation by the Groton Police Department and is documented under the case number 25000246665. On Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, the Groton Police Department provided the Office of Professional Standards Internal Affairs Unit with their corresponding initial and supplemental reports. I haven't received anything from the Groton Police Department or the state's attorney's office, supplemental reports, initial reports, nothing. So much for facing your accuser and know what you're charged with. At this time, no closing documentation has been received. A review of the Groton Police Department's reports reveals several key findings. Notably, responding officers confirmed that a no trespassing sign was visibly posted in the grass along the driveway of Sergeant Fahey's residence. A review of the Groton Police Department's report reveals several key findings. Notably, responding officers confirmed that a no trespassing sign was visibly posted in the grass along the driveway of Sergeant Fahey's residence. They're lying directly to you, ladies and gentlemen. They are lying to your face with video evidence. Additionally, upon their own review of the video posted by Sean Paul Reyes, Groton police personnel observed that Mr. Reyes verbally emphasized the importance of identifying no trespassing signage. I did. When approaching private property. True. However, the video appears to contain edits that omit the portion of the driveway where the sign was located, both during the initial approach to the residence and during Mr. Reyes' subsequent retreat from the property. Let's see here. Exhibit number E, whatever exhibit we're at. This is the moments before I went onto the property. Me just talking to my cameraman. Let's take a look.
He lives down this private road here. Nice. Must be nice. Like you always got.
This is never before seen footage.
He lives down this private road.
I'm about to expose myself, ladies and gentlemen.
Road here. Nice. Must be nice. Like you always got to be like on the lookout for like that's why I went up here and read this sign. It says private road, but it doesn't say like no trespassing or anything like that. Because if you pass a no trespassing sign that you can clearly see, you can get arrested for that. So you have to be sure to make sure that you don't have any sort of signs. Just because it's a private road doesn't mean that you can't go on it. You know, people knock on people's doors all the time to try and sell them stuff, you know, so.
Look, this is my initial approach right here. First time I'm walking on the property. This was not included in the original because it didn't matter.
Just come up like to the side of me. Just like get in front of me. Like record in front of me. Like so that way the camera could see exactly what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? So stay a little bit in front of me and just keep walking. And then I'll talk if I need to. Just because I want to make sure that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make sure that we're not crossing into any.
Oh, what's this? This is the sign they're referring to that I edited out of my video. Number one, this sign is clearly visible from my video. Clearly. From the original video. What you're watching now wasn't in my video. As you can see, I was talking to my cameraman, telling him to be on the lookout for no trespassing signs, as we don't want to break the law. We don't want to get arrested. We want to do the right thing here in compliance with state law and our constitutional rights. What does this say here? It's a little hard to read. Private road, dead end, no turnaround. That sounds to me, I mean, private road, dead end, no turnaround. Does that sound like a no trespassing sign to you? The state police, the Groton police, they confirmed it in their extensive and thorough investigation, right? That's what they did. They confirmed that there are no trespassing sign, and I did a Houdini and magically made it disappear. Private road, dead end, no turnaround. That sounds like a sign meant for a vehicle, right? I wasn't in a vehicle. That private road has a public easement, has an easement attached to it, the private road. As you see, it connects to two different houses.
No trespassing signs.
There's the sign. Let's see. Maybe we're missing something. Let's continue.
So as always, I want to be on the lookout for any no trespassing signs, restricted area. I don't see why I would see restricted area. So as always, you always want to be on the lookout for any no trespassing signs, restricted area.
This is why it was cut out, ladies and gentlemen. And I started the video here. It's because I kept messing up my words when I was explaining look out for no trespassing signs, restricted area, et cetera, et cetera. But again, we have the original. Isn't that great? So you saw me walk all the way up from the street, remember, unedited, the smoking gun that's going to get me convicted of criminal
signs. I don't see why there would be in this neighborhood here, but, you know, we just want to ask some questions, see what's going on with this overtime allegation. Hopefully he answers us.
I mean, there's no edits here. Like, where's the sign? I must be missing. Like, is it invisible? Oh, wait. Towards this property, there's another private road sign. Look at that. Private road. Well, I don't know for sure what it is. I have no, it looks like the same sign from earlier in the driveway, but I don't know. I have no idea. There's no way of me zooming in on this. I've tried. It just looks like a blurry mess. But regardless, this house right here, this residence here, is Sergeant Fahey's residence, former disgraced sergeant, excuse me, Bryan Fahey's residence. So that sign, whatever it says, I believe it says private road again. It looks exactly like the sign we saw earlier, but it definitely wouldn't apply to whatever it is, wouldn't apply to him. We'll let it go a little bit longer. And nope. No signs except for this sign right here with his address on it that I was kind enough to blur out. They lie to you. They lie directly to your face. Hit the like button if you hate when the state police and public servants who are meant to serve us lie directly to you and think you're stupid. Let's keep going. A review of the department's police reports revealed several key findings. There was a no trespassing sign approaching the private property. However, the video appears to contain edits. You just saw the unedited walk-up. Omitting the portion of the driveway where the sign was located during the initial approach and to the residence and during Mr. Reyes' subsequent retreat from the property. Excuse me. As documented in the Groton Police Department's review, this is a conspiracy. You know, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, right? I mean, I'm not. I mean, I like to look at cold, hard facts like video evidence, things like that. But this is clearly a conspiracy between Bryan Fahey, the Groton Police Department, and the Connecticut State Police. Clearly, right? I mean, am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? Like, I mean, this is why I need you guys to comment down your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, am I blind? I don't get it. I really don't. As documented in the reports, in the Groton Police Department's review of the Sergeant Fahey's Ring doorbell camera footage, it was clearly evident. So they reviewed his Ring doorbell camera footage. Okay. It was clearly evident that Sergeant Fahey wanted Sean Paul Reyes and Mr. Tahim Glover to leave his property. Despite these directives, both individuals continued to record video, pose questions, and provide commentary while remaining on the present premises. It was clear that Sergeant Fahey Bryan Fahey from his Ring doorbell camera footage, it was clearly evident that Bryan Fahey wanted Sean Paul Reyes and Mr. Tahim Glover to leave his property. That's clear. Despite these directives, both individuals continued to record. That's true. Pose questions, and that's true as well. And provide commentary. That's true as well. While remaining on the premises. What was I supposed to teleport? I mean, I left immediately. First of all, he was not talking to my cameraman. He was talking to me. Get off my property. He was looking at me. He was talking to me. I immediately left, and I told my cameraman, let's go. It's in the video. Do we need to watch it? I mean, let's just get through this because too many exhibits. You can watch it. The links in the video of the full video is in the description below. Continue to record while remaining on the premises. Lie. Groton police further noted in their report that this location is private property, not in plain view from the public space. Okay. And clearly a place where Fahey would have a reasonable expectation of privacy. What? This location is private property, not in plain view from the public space, and clearly a place where Fahey would have a reasonable expectation of privacy. So I have a reasonable expectation of privacy if I go walk on my lawn? I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. On Monday, July 14, 2025, Eastern District Commanding Officer Major John whatever submitted an agency-generated complaint form. This is the summary and conclusion. We're getting to the end. To the Bureau of Professional Standards, Internal Affairs Unit, the complaint references YouTube video. Okay. Sergeant Fahey retrieved his handgun. This is more of the same, issuing strong verbal warnings and allegedly spitting on Mr. Reyes. It's not allegedly. He literally, we saw it and he admitted to it. The aforementioned circumstances may constitute a violation of administrative and operational order policy and therefore warrant further investigation to determine the appropriate administrative response. On Friday, July 11th, Jean-Paul Reyes arrived in Fahey's neighborhood accompanied by a cameraman and a mobile digital I think we read all this. Corrupted it. We did all this. July 13th, the Long Island Audit begins to persuade his audience. The Long Island Audit, I don't think we read this part. The Long Island Audit video begins to attempt to persuade its audience that the property was not posted with no trespassing signs. And do you feel like I'm trying to persuade you guys? Like, I mean, I'm trying to persuade you guys that what you're not seeing, right? Oh, man. While separated, however, both Sergeant Fahey, Bryan Fahey, and his wife, Kimberly Fahey, in separate 911 calls made during the incident, and while separated by both sight and sound, independently affirmed that the property was clearly marked with no trespassing signage. Furthermore, the Groton Police Department report notes that the video footage posted by Mr. Reyes appears to have been edited to omit specific portions of his initial approach to the residence and subsequent retreat where the signage would have been visible. Groton. This is a conspiracy between the Groton Police Department, the Connecticut State Police, Bryan Fahey, and his wife, Kimberly Fahey. All of them. Because they both lied to 911. Fahey multiple times saying I threatened to kill him. She lied too. I mean, it's clear as day she lied. They think you're stupid. They think we are stupid. That's what they think. And they can get away with it. We're going to hold them accountable. If I got to get another billboard truck, if I got to do whatever I got to do to make sure that if they're not held accountable in a court of law, they will be held accountable in the court of public opinion. They will be forever known as the lying, disgusting, vile Faheys. They will forever be known as oath-breaking tyrants, a conspiracy. And then I'm going to read you the statement the Connecticut State Police made after this. Disgusting. Sergeant Fahey further informed Internal Affairs Unit that he had implemented additional security measures at his residence, including the posting of a no trespassing sign, specifically a response of the ongoing harassment from Jean-Paul Reyes and his followers. I have never harassed him. It is important to note that both Mr. Reyes and Sergeant Fahey are represented by legal counsel in connection with ongoing civil litigation, specifically Reyes v. Lavoie. That is true. We are. And that's why I wasn't talking to him about the civil litigation. This was a separate issue in my journalistic capacity. I didn't even bring up the lawsuit. Currently pending in the United States District Court for District of Connecticut. That's going to be an awkward deposition. I got to say, awkward. And now there's going to be another deposition. So there's going to be two Bryan Fahey depositions. Awkward. The video portrays Jean-Paul Reyes at the front door of Sergeant Fahey's residence. The video portrays Jean-Paul Reyes at the front door of Sergeant Fahey's residence, appearing to ask journalistic questions regarding Sergeant Fahey's overtime. Appearing to ask journalistic questions. However, the video omits critical context. It fails to convey that Jean-Paul Reyes is a known convicted felon to Sergeant Fahey and that he was accompanied by a cameraman, the scary cameraman with wearing a mask and a hood. A mask and a hood. Somebody who has been held accountable for their crimes and has done for their crime and has paid the price, redeemed himself, and built a beautiful life for his family. Apologized to the victim. Done great things ever since, 13 years. And the masked individual, where is he?
I have multiple cameras.
The masked scary individual we have here with the hood on. That's a bandana, by the way. It's not a hood. And there's no mask. So, again, accompanied by cameraman where circumstances that contributed significantly to the perceived threat. Additionally, the average viewer would be unaware of the extensive and ongoing harassment directed at Sergeant Fahey. This includes thousands of harassing emails, phone calls, Facebook messages, posts, pieces of mail, Sergeant Fahey has observed hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube comments. The victim, he's the victim. I'm the criminal. No, I'm not. The video also fails to accurately represent the full scope of the incident, as if it did not solely involve Sergeant Fahey. At the time of the encounter, both his wife and daughter were present inside the residence. How would I portray that his daughter and his wife were inside the residence? Tell me, how would I portray that to my audience? One, they're not interesting to me at all. I have no interest in them. Two, I couldn't see them. I had no idea of knowing that they were home or not. Zero. I don't know. But again, this is the creative propaganda, creative writing propaganda that they want to spoon feed. All, you know, this report will do wonders for the bootlickers out there. I'm sure it will. They're going to eat this all up. They're going to love it. Oh my God, 13 years ago, Sean made a bad decision and paid for it. But we're going to completely put to the side all of the felonies that Fahey has committed, the drug dealing, he was arrested for it at least, and drug use, and the oath breaking, the constitutional violations, the felony threatening. That's all. We'll put that to the side because he wasn't convicted of it. I mean, why would he be? He's part of the system. He gets to get away with it. Till this day, charges haven't been filed against this man. He should be a convicted felon. The video also fails to accurately represent the full scope. His wife and children were home. The same wife that went and was harassing people, right? Giving them the middle finger and following them around in her car. Oh, Kimberly. Upon being aware of the situation, Sergeant Fahey's wife entered the state of distress. Of distress? She was in a state of distress and immediately instructed their daughter to go upstairs. Oh, we saw this already. We read this already. There's a lot of repeats in this. While the video portrays, oh, this is great. While the video, hold on. The 911 call placed by Sergeant Fahey's wife captures her in a state of emotional distress. Her tone reflects panic, fear, and visible agitation. This is like a book, like a fiction book. This is what it is, I guess. Look at all these adjectives. Her tone reflects panic, fear, and visible agitation. She could be heard breathing heavily. At one point, audibly shouting, "Quicker!" in reference to the urgency of the police response. Quicker? I agree. They should have came quicker. Was going to kill me, lady. For nothing. For doing nothing. While the video portrays Sean Paul Reyes as backpedaling off the property after being asked to leave, Sergeant Fahey stated that in reality, I mean, which reality? Is this like a different universe? Like we're talking like the MCU here, Universe 618? I don't know, like an alternate reality? The video portrays Sean Paul Reyes as backpedaling. What you're watching, ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing on the video of me backpedaling and leaving, that's not true. In reality, Mr. Reyes was moving deeper onto the property, specifically onto the lawn. Sergeant Fahey reported that based on Mr. Reyes' actions, he reasonably believed that Mr. Reyes was not attempting to leave, but instead continuing to unlawfully remain with the intent to further victimize him and his family. Sergeant Fahey is seen exiting his residence holding a privately owned. I don't know if this is like adding anything. He did not possess. We saw this. Sergeant Fahey, Sean Paul Reyes, physical chest to chest. During the interaction, Sergeant Fahey identifies him as Connecticut State Trooper on multiple occasions. During this, I'm just repeating everything we've already read. During the exchange, the video appears. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's get to 10,000 viewers live, please. This needs to be. I know most people aren't going to watch. Maybe I'll do like a. I'll break this down in a smaller format of a video so more people can see it, because not a lot of people view hour and 20-minute live streams. I mean, we have 8,000 people in here, but it's the way it is during the exchange. So make sure you hit the like button and share this video all over across social media. During this exchange, the video appears to show Sergeant Fahey spitting in the face of Sean Paul Reyes and appear to have a visual reaction, verbal reaction, spitting the entire time. He admits that, yes, I did. Yes. We read all this. This is all read before. Sean Paul Reyes was released on bond on July 11, 2025. As a condition of that release, acknowledged and signed a special condition of release. These conditions include a directive to stay away from the home of the victim, and to refrain from any form of contact with the victim directly or indirectly, including written, electronic, or telephonic communication. Additionally, Mr. Reyes is prohibited from contacting the victim's residence, workplace, or any third party where such contact is likely to cause annoyance, alarm of the protected person. He's protected. Administrative manual section, violation number 1. I got to go through this administrative and operations manual. I mean, I'm sure he committed way more than one violation, but they're only charging him with one violation here. Violation number 1, 14.2.2 BB1D6. Offense that may result in disciplinary action, any conduct that would reflect negatively on this Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Example given, in example, conduct unbecoming. Recommendation, sustained. Conduct unbecoming, sustained. The investigation, this report is conduct unbecoming of the department. Whoever wrote this report, the Internal Affairs Bureau, this is conduct unbecoming. This would negatively reflect any conduct that would negatively reflect on the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Yeah. That's this report. That's this report for sure. The investigation as established by preponderance of the evidence, including Sergeant Fahey's own admission that on Friday, July 11, 2025, while on duty at his private residence, Sergeant Fahey was surprised by the presence of Sean Paul Reyes and another individual with a mask and a hood. Lies. This unexpected encounter immediately placed the Fahey family in a state of panic and heightened alert, prompting both Fahey and his wife to independently call 911 for assistance. Sergeant Fahey perceived the individual as an unknown threat to his family, which prompted him to arm himself, chest to chest, Connecticut State Trooper multiple times. During the verbal exchange, Sergeant Fahey intentionally spit in the face and mouth of Sean Paul Reyes. This action captured on video and verbally acknowledged by Mr. Reyes at the time of the incident. While Sergeant Fahey stated he does not recall spitting on Mr. Reyes, he does not dispute that it occurred. He actually admitted that it occurred. He doesn't, again, they can't even write. This conduct is behavior that reflects negatively on the department. Dated July 24th, 2025. Sergeant Alex Pierston, badge number 263. Investigator. Supervisor's information. Major Alessandro Giannone, badge number 7. Commanding Officer, Bureau of Professional Standards and Compliance. These people engaged in conduct unbecoming that will reflect badly on the state police. They did. A final version was saved into a P drive, and that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. A lot to unpack there. There was a lot to unpack there. They said that he was suspended. Let's see here. Where's the punishment? They didn't even mention it. They mentioned it in a different. They mentioned the suspension. They said that he was put on unpaid suspension. So if this was signed off on July 24th, he retired on August 4th. He worked from July 11th to July 24th without a suspension, and then he was on unpaid suspension, presumably from the 25th for 5 days before he retired. Insane. So I wanted to also show you this really quick, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're going to be getting out of here. Let's take a look here.
And an internal affairs investigation report
I want to show you how the mainstream media, corporate news, how they're reporting on this. Let's take a look.
Tonight at 11, an internal affairs investigation report is out on an incident involving a now retired state trooper. Last month, this video went viral showing Sergeant Bryan Fahey being confronted at his home in Groton by a YouTuber and his photographer.
Independent. You know where I got this video from? I got this video from YouTube. Are you a YouTuber, lady? Is your network YouTubers? Independent journalist. I am a journalist. I post way more than just on YouTube. All of social media. I don't get it. I report on matters of public interest.
Those two were arrested, and tonight we've learned Fahey was disciplined as well. Amanda Callahan is your reporter live from State Police headquarters in Middletown to break down this report. Amanda.
Well, Aaron, State Police confirmed today that Sergeant Bryan Fahey was placed on unpaid leave while this investigation was unfolding. Now, this is the Internal Affairs report right here, and it says that Fahey's conduct reflected negatively on the department, but it also details some of what wasn't shown in that viral video, as well as the many threats that both Fahey and his family were receiving.
Get off my property.
Get that gun out of your hand.
Get off my property.
Get that gun out of your
Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care who you are.
It's this confrontation between State Police Sergeant Bryan Fahey and YouTuber Sean Paul Reyes on July 11th that sparked an internal affairs investigation.
You are.
Right now.
You spit in my face.
My property.
You're going to jail now.
Reyes showed up to Fahey's private home on July 11th to confront the sergeant about overtime pay, and the scary encounter quickly escalated. Fahey admitted to spitting at Reyes, which is ultimately what warranted disciplinary action. The report says that conduct reflects negatively on the department. A statement released by the state police says, quote, as a result of this investigation, Sergeant Fahey was disciplined with an unpaid suspension prior to his retirement. But the report also says the video is missing context, that prior to the confrontation, there were violent ongoing threats aimed at both Sergeant Fahey and his family, some of them coming from comments on YouTube, others in emails, Facebook messages, phone calls to his personal number in police barrack, and pieces of mail, some of them even death threats. The report also says the cameraman with Reyes was wearing a mask and a hood, and that Fahey's property was clearly marked with no trespassing signs that aren't shown in Reyes's video. Fahey's daughter and wife were also home at the time of the incident, the report saying his wife's 911 call clearly conveyed fear and stress. But Reyes disagrees with some of what the investigation found, claiming his cameraman was not in a mask or hood and that he never saw no trespassing signs. He says, quote, the state police self-described fair, accurate, and complete internal affairs report is anything but. Now, Fahey was retired officially as of August 1st. State police say he made that decision in May of this year. So before this whole confrontation unfolded, there is a civil lawsuit pending between Reyes and Fahey. There's also a protective order for Fahey as part of Reyes and his photographer's bond. Your reporter live in Middletown tonight, Amanda Callahan, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Great reporting, Amanda. Great job. You're a real journalist, regurgitating what other people have said. Why wouldn't you watch the video? You didn't have to say that I alleged that he wasn't wearing a mask. You could have said that he wasn't. You could have reported that the state police is covering up for Fahey, because that's clearly what they're doing. You could have done any sort of investigation. It wasn't hard for me to find the videos of Fahey's wife, Kimberly Fahey, harassing peaceful protesters, getting aggressive, following them around. That you could have reported on that. You could have reported on a bunch of things. You chose not to, didn't you, Amanda? Again, this is why people don't really trust the mainstream media. So we have this right here. I want to show you guys this before we get out of here. This is the Colonel Daniel Loftman. This is the leader. Besides the commissioner, this is the leader. Let's see what he had to say. This is the statement he put out for the world to see before. On Monday, July 11, 2025, Connecticut State Police Sergeant Fahey was confronted while off duty of his home by a self-described digital content creator. That's not what I've never described myself as, a digital content creator. An internal affairs investigation was immediately initiated by the Connecticut State Police to review the actions of Sergeant Fahey. The internal affairs investigation was completed on Thursday, July 24th, and sustained a charge of conduct on becoming against Fahey. I commend the swift and thorough work of our internal affairs unit. As a result of this investigation, Sergeant Fahey was disciplined and then retired with his golden parachute of his taxpayer-funded pension. But okay, with an unpaid suspension prior to his retirement. Sergeant Fahey previously provided notice of his intended retirement May 2025. I have FOIA requested that notice. I don't know if that's true or not. Then that his retirement became effective August 1st. The Internal Affairs Investigation Report has been released today in accordance with FOIA laws. And I encourage our trusted media partners like Amanda there, our trusted media partners to review this report and take it as gospel truth, right? Gospel truth, the report. Unlike the edited videos and inaccurate accounts, Colonel Loftman, You're disgusting. You are a disgusting oath-breaking tyrant. I'd rather be anything other than an oath-breaking tyrant to our country. You're a liar. You have lied to the American people, to the people across this country and the world. You have gaslighted them, and the only people who are ever going to believe your lies and your propaganda, your creative writing, are the people that already lick your boots, Colonel. The Internal Affairs Report, in accordance with photo laws, unlike the edited video and inaccurate accounts that are being circulated online of this incident, I believe that the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs Report outlines a complete, accurate, and fair representation of the incident, as well as the information and details leading up to the confrontation on July 11th. 2025. It is my understanding that separate and apart from the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs investigation, the July 11th incident remains under investigation by the Town of Groton Police Department and the Windham State's Attorney's Office. Wait a minute. The Windham State's Attorney's Office? I thought it was the New London Judicial District, the New London State's Attorney's Office, Paul Narducci, the guy who grew up with Fahey allegedly and played baseball with him. Oh yeah, I remember on my arraignment, he said that there appears to be a professional bias, an appearance of a professional bias. I think it's a personal one, but I remember he said they told me good luck. Nice meeting you, Mr. Reyes. Very nice guy, right? I never knew. My attorney didn't know that it was transferred to the Windham State's Attorney's Office. That's news to me. Just finding that out. The Connecticut State Police have and will continue to, I'm sure it's the most urban, populated, mixed area in the world. I'm sure, right? Windham County? Anybody familiar with Windham County? I'm sure. The Connecticut State Police have and will continue to cooperate fully with that investigation. I appreciate the continued trust that the people of Connecticut provide us, and I encourage our Connecticut residents to read the report. I'm sure you do, Colonel Loftman. I'm sure you do encourage everyone to read your full of lies report that tries to paint me as somebody I am not and tries to lie about reality. I'm sure you would love them to read it. We believe transparency is a cornerstone of public trust. Above all, please know that the Connecticut State Police will always strive to earn and keep your confidence. Signed, Colonel Daniel Loftman. Oh, man. Let's see here. Now let's take a look. I hope you guys are really understanding what's going on here. It's really sad. It's like it almost makes you want to cry how sad it is. Like this is a sad day for our country. Really, it is. Now let's take a look here while with you guys. Let's take a look at who is the Windham State's attorney, the new person investigating and prosecuting me maliciously. Let's see, and investigating Fahey allegedly. Let's see here. Windham. Not Windham Estate's attorney. Windham State's attorney, Connecticut. Let's see. Who's going to be investigating Bryan Fahey? Who's going to be maliciously prosecuting me, an innocent man, and my cameraman? Let's see here. Let's put this over here so we can all see it together. All right. Let's pull it up. All right, so we have here Division of Criminal. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Let's see here. Division, State of Connecticut, Division of Criminal Justice. Office of the State's Attorney for the Judicial District of Windham. Windham Judicial District, welcome to the Office of the State's Attorney. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. State's Attorney. State's Attorney John F. Fahey. It was transferred for the appearance of a professional bias from Paul Narducci, the New London State's Attorney, and the Chief State's Attorney's Office in Connecticut decided to transfer it to Windham state's attorney, and they decided that they were going to transfer it to State's Attorney John F. Fahey. Dude, are you kidding me? Like, what? Now, let me be clear. I have no idea, zero idea, if John F. Fahey is related to Bryan J. Fahey. I don't know. I just don't. There's nothing I could find that says I don't know. I don't know. That's what it comes down to. I don't know. But this has to. Okay, wait a minute. I need to look up something else. Let me take this down. Hold on. Let's look up. So it's John F. Fahey. Okay, let me see what he looks like. Maybe he doesn't look like Fahey. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's like totally different. Maybe he's like a black guy. Hold on. State's Attorney, Windham, Connecticut. Let's see. Maybe he's like some black dude. John F. Fahey. Let's see if we can find I love being live with you guys. Let's see here. Where is it? Connecticut. Oh, I'm trying to find a picture of him, guys. Looks like this is him. He looks like a nice guy. I don't know. Let's Fahey definitely doesn't look like a nice guy. The other Fahey, not the one that's investigating me, the one that criminally assaulted me and spat in my face. This is a different Fahey, no big deal. So let's see here. I think this is him. John Fahey named Windham's top prosecutor. When was he named? 2025. He was literally just named the prosecutor in 2025 of June. He's not even like a seasoned guy. He's like brand new. They just installed him. John Fahey has been appointed to the new state's attorney for the Judicial District of Windham, according to the community announcement. The Criminal Justice Commission, chaired, because they're not, remember, ladies and gentlemen, their prosecutors aren't elected, as they are almost everywhere else. They're appointed by a Criminal Justice Commission. That's real accountability for you. The Criminal Justice Commission, chaired by Justice Andrew McDonald, unanimously voted for Fahey's appointment during a meeting at the Legislative Office building in Hartford. His 8-year term, 8 years, will begin on July 1st, 2025. This is a hell of a way to start your career, Mr. Fahey. Dude, you can't make it up. Fahey, currently a supervising state's attorney at the Division of Criminal Justice, will succeed Ann Mahoney, F. Mahoney, who has served since May 2016. Fahey's career with the Division of Criminal Justice began in 1994 as a deputy assistant state's attorney in Hartford. Within a year, he was promoted to the Hartford Judicial District, where he served 23 years. During his time, he tried numerous cases, including those involving murder, sexual assault, robbery, arson, assault, and weapons violations. He also served as a liaison to the Hartford Shooting Task Force and worked as a special assistant U.S. attorney. In 2014, he was honored with the Prosecutor of the Year Award by the Connecticut Criminal Justice Education and Charitable Association. This is a picture of him right here, ladies and gentlemen. Meet John F. Fahey. Right here. The man that holds my cameraman's life in his hands and my life in his hands and the future of my freedom anyway, and the future of former Sergeant, disgraced, unhinged psychopath Bryan J. Fahey. Fahey, no relation. I mean, I guess. I don't know that. In 2018, Fahey became supervising state's attorney of the cold case unit in the office of the chief of state's attorney. In this role, he led numerous investigations and prosecutions utilizing innovative scientific techniques and investigatory grand jury presentations for unsolved crimes. Fahey is a graduate of Fairfield University and earned his law degree from Western New England University School of Law. The state's attorney is the chief law enforcement officer in the Judicial District of Windham, which includes towns of Windham, Ashford, Brooklyn, Centerbury, Chaplin, East Hartford, Hampton. Connecticut state's attorneys are constitutional officers. Then you should love the Constitution, John Fahey. Constitutionally vested with the prosecutorial power of the state. The state's attorneys are chief prosecutor attorneys acting on behalf of the state in each of their... You're acting on behalf of the state, but you're not acting on behalf of the people because you're not even elected. Let's see here. Instead, Criminal Justice Commission... Oh, look, judicial districts. Connecticut is one of the few states that do not elect their chief prosecutors. Instead, the Criminal Justice Commission is autonomous, but is an autonomous body constitutionally charged with appointing all state prosecutors in Connecticut. Sounds like a recipe for corruption. Huh, Corrupticate? Gotta love it. The commission's membership includes Chief Judge of Appellate Court Melanie Cradle, Robert Burke, blah, 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 blah. So this is the John F. Fahey, ladies and gentlemen. John F. Fahey, state's attorney of Wyndham. Now let's see something else. Let's look at something else. This is him. Fahey versus Fahey. No relation. I mean, dude. Wyndham County. Wyndham County. There's a reason why they put me here, and I don't think it's because of that guy Fahey. Wyndham County demographics. Let's see if it's like a very diverse area, like super diverse or something like that. I don't know. I'm not familiar. I've never been there. Wyndham County, Connecticut. I don't know if you're from that area. Please let me know. Let's see. Let's take a look together. Wyndham County has a population of, let's zoom in a little bit. Wyndham County's population of 116,000. And again, Wyndham County, I'm sure it encompasses more than just Wyndham County. So this is their senator. 11% poverty rate. Annual income, 71,000. 97.4% citizens. Looks like we have an 81. I don't know if you guys could see that. 81%. 81% white, non-Hispanic. 81%. And then 3%. And then 2% black. 2% Asian. Not a very diverse place. Interesting. I don't know. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out why they sent me over here. I mean, to the other Fahey, apparently. Like, what? What is going on here? This is like a movie. This is like a movie. Oh, so I will say that also regarding this, I wanted to Scalzo Photo wanted me to talk about this, and I appreciate Leroy. Leroy drove 2 hours from Leroy Truth Investigations. He drove over 2 hours to confront and ask questions.
An internal affairs investigation.
WFSB to try and hold them accountable for their egregious reporting. Very, very. And I feel like this is dripped. Bryan Fahey, something with drug charges. Anybody got any information on, former Connecticut State Police upstanding citizen Sergeant Bryan Fahey and his 1993 arrest for possession and sale of illegal drugs, who later become a tyrant police officer? Like, I might have committed a crime, but look where I am today, and I'm proud of it. And my family's proud of me. And I know a lot of you out there are proud of me. So I appreciate you guys. I don't know. Any information, longislandaudit@gmail.com. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I feel like I'm living in a movie, and I don't know why. He was arrested for drug possession and drug sales. I don't know why. I bet he didn't think I would ever come to light. I bet you he never in a million years thought that was ever going to come to light. And I will show you guys, for those of you just joining, why not? We've already been here for so long. Let's look at it again. Let's see here. So this is the news article here. So you see he was in the newspaper. He wasn't on the dean's list, that's for sure. They got the dean's list and court dispositions right next to each other. He wasn't on the dean's list. Shout out to the supporter who sent me this. I appreciate it. Charges of use of drug paraphernalia and the sale of certain illegal drugs were not prosecuted against Bryan Fahey, 20, of Vauxhall Street, New London. Again, I don't even, his age matches up and everything. I'll just say this is alleged because there's no picture of him, but I'm pretty sure it's him. Let's see here. And I know you guys sending super chats, so I appreciate that. The cops are Nazis, they're redcoats. Nazis came from Germany, tyrants are resident. Leroy did a good ass job helping out. Jennifer, definitely Jennifer. Leroy did an amazing job. He went to the WFSB. Leroy from Leroy Truth Investigations went to the WFSB's headquarters in order to ask them about, their non-integrity having reporting. I mean, you're just regurgitating. You're just state-run media at this point. You're regurgitating what the state police want you to. What Colonel Daniel Loffman. I encourage everybody to read our report. I'm sure you do, Daniel. I'm sure you do. You tyrant. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I have court September 9th. I am going to continue to investigate Fahey's past crimes, his current assaults against other individuals. There may or may not be a video coming out regarding former Sergeant Fahey's excessive force. I'll just say it's a bad video. I've seen it. So stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. We're almost at 1 million subscribers. Make sure you're subscribed. You click that notification bell, hit the like button on your way out, share this video, and let me know your thoughts on everything in this video. A long one in the comment sections below. Let me just see the chats real quick before I get out of here. Expose him. Thank you. Craziness. I know. Blows my mind. We're going to be talking about this whole scenario for a while now. So I got to go. Thank you guys for all your support. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next one. We will continue to fight for our constitutional rights, for transparency and accountability in our government. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next one. Long Island Audit. Peace.